Land is a cash producer, provided you understand how land works, and a great resource for stability, extra financial security to be able to leverage single-family homes and multifamily, provided you know these 5 things. Hi everybody, my name is Jerome Maldonado, and I've been buying land and building houses for over 28 plus years. And the one thing that I've always made money doing on the side is land. Most people don't realize that there is money in the resources of land. And there is 3 breakaway places in the land to de-risk the project and allow you to be able to go in and generate money with very little to almost no money out of pocket. There is almost nothing on this earth that's no money down, no money out of pocket. There's almost nothing. Land is one of the only variables that you can go into with very little to almost no money out of pocket and be able to do for the lowest bandwidth of entry. The only trade-off is it does take a little bit of time. So this strategy will take you about 90 days to be able to bear $20,000 to $60,000 in profit or better, provided the demographics of your area. And so understand, I'm not talking about large infrastructure development here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about small subdivides, okay? So one of the first things you need to do is you need to be able to go in and assess an area, okay? Now, let's say, for example, super simple, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you 2 examples today. 2 examples of very simple subdivide resources, and I'm going to explain to you the breakaway point where you can generate profits and reduce risk. Now, first, you got to be able to go out and you have to be able to find a demographical area that supports a business model that's profitable. So if you haven't watched our 5-day land challenge, you have to watch the 5-day land challenge to be able to assess if there's profitability for a builder. So if you're brand new getting started and you've never built before, but you need the resources of capital, this is a great way to enter the resource of capital gains with no money or very little out of pocket, okay? So understand that from that perspective. Now, if you are already building, but you want to have a resource, if the house is taking you 6 months to build and 2 or 3 months to sell, finance, and get rid of, that's a 9-month process. And so if you want to be able to have breakaway points on real estate like this, you could go in and subdivide this with maybe 2 municipal meetings, get it simply subdivided, very simple, do a lot line adjustment or a simple subdivide, and then position yourself where you can make $20,000 to $60,000 interim while you're waiting for your house to be built and sold. So what's cool is you could take a single lot. Let's say this lot is 1.61 acres, okay? Just something random, okay? So now, let's say that there's a half-acre minimum requirement in this semi-rural area. And they say you can't subdivide lots in less than half an acre. You sit back, and let's say that this lot is actually like this. But let's say the only problem with this lot sitting like this is that it's only 160 feet deep right here. And if this is 160 on the depth and it's cut in half and it's only 80 and 80, you could build a house on this, but it's really tight, okay? And now, so if it's 80 feet, what if we go in and we maximize the density? We know we have enough to get 3 lots out of that, but like this, we could only get 1, 2 lots. So how do we maximize density? So what we could do is we could do a lot line adjustment with this line right here. So what we do is we can come in and let's say that we take this dotted line and you have 2 options. You can either just subdivide the land into 3 lots, or you can do a subdivide into 2 lots and simply do a lot line adjustment. The reason I tell people to do a lot line adjustment because there's a lot of lots out there that don't make sense the way the lot lines lie. And if the lot lines don't make sense, you can adjust that lot line with almost no bandwidth because you're not increasing density. All you're doing is making a modification on how that actual lot sits to make better sense for better usability. And so if we go in and all we simply do is we take our lots and we adjust this lot line and we turn this lot line 90 degrees and we now do a lot line that runs like this. All it is a trade. Now we have a lot here and a lot here. Now, we could come in, we could start even building on this, or we could even sell this lot right here and generate some capital in the process of subdividing this into lot number 2 and lot number 3. So now you did what's called a lot line adjustment and you did a subdivide, and you can do them in simultaneous fashion at the same meeting. And so it doesn't take you any longer. So now you have a lot that's 0.53, 0.53, and point 0.5, what is that, 5.6 or whatever it is, right? To be able to go in, now you meet your half-acre requirements, you maximize your density, you have 3 lots, but when you looked at it from a perspective, you bought it as 1 lot, and let's say for sake of example, you bought the entire lot for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. Let's call it 60K, okay? Now, let's say that the entire subdivide process to go through the municipal hearings and hire a survey company, because what you're going to need to do is step number 2, after you find the lot, is you're going to need to get a survey company, okay? So 1 is find the lot, okay? Number 2, get a survey company. The survey company is going to do the lot line adjustment and the subdivide conceptual drawings for you. You don't need an architect. You need no other trade professional. The only trade professional you need is the survey company themselves. Most survey companies are for hire as a consultant to help you with the entire subdivide process. Most people don't know this. And so for maybe $3,000 to $5,000, they'll do the entire process for you. And if you don't have the ability to pay the $3,000 to $5,000, go in, pay them their fees. Their fees to do this whole lot line adjustment, probably only going to cost you about maybe $1,800, give or take. Go sell some newspapers, go sell some hamburgers, go down to your local sports stadium and sell hot dogs and cotton candy, and go make yourself $1,800. That's simple, okay? Now, we go in, guys, you go in your municipal fees to subdivide this, to go into the public hearings for approval. You're going to need this, may cost you about $800, maybe less. Probably less. That's high. Okay, so now you go and you go to a public hearing. Your public hearing is going to present this. You may get approval at your first public hearing, so long as you comply with the requirements. If you don't comply with the requirements, let's say this lot was 1.49 acres, and now you still want to get 3 lots, but you have to go in for special requirements because each lot is 0.499 acres, and it's under a half an acre. Will they allow you to be under a half an acre, make a special exception? You might have to present it in one meeting. They may have to review it and make you come back on the second meeting to be able to come in and get that approval. So it might take you 2 meetings, meaning it's going to take you 2 months. So now you go through a public hearing. Once you go through a public hearing, you get your approvals. Now you list and sell, okay? Now you list and sell. Now, you could do a couple things here, guys. You could come in, and what you have to understand about real estate is that you are selling not a piece of real estate, you are selling what's called a pad site. And when you sell a pad site, when comps come into play, the bank is looking at what the asset value is worth on that house. So if houses in this area are selling for $300 a square foot, okay, and we take this house, now we can put 3 houses, we have 3 pad sites. The same price that you bought the entire lot for, each pad site is now worth. Because if you bought it based on one pad site and the pad site was only worth 60 grand, now this one's worth 60K and this one's worth 60K. If this entire process cost you, let's say $3,000, now you're $63,000 into the entire investment. Now you go in, you make $57,000 net right here and $60,000 here. After selling fees, real estate commissions, and everything that you're doing, guys, you don't have to do infrastructure. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You just go in, simply subdivide a lot, and now you have the ability to make an extra $117,000. Now, let's say that you do have to do infrastructure, and let's say that now you're going to have to do a transformer to be able to facilitate these 2 lots. Well, that transformer is going to cost you someplace right around $5,000 to $8,000. Let's call it $8,000. This one transformer, you put it in between both houses, will serve as power to this house and that house. So if that's $8,000, don't forget to ask the electrical company to give you a credit for usage. And when you do a usage credit, you might originally get a price for $20,000 to put a transformer in there. But what they'll do is they'll do a reduction of cost based on a usage credit where they anticipate what the average home uses over the course of 2 years. And if that house produces so much cash flow for them, they're going to give you a credit back for that transformer because you just helped that company expand their utility services at no expense for them. You pay that $8,000, they're going to give you a credit because they're going to make you back in passive income from selling energy, okay? And so this is called a mailbox money, because they'll give you a pro rata and even pay you back for this a lot of times in a pro rata fee based on usage, okay? Now, when we do that, let's say that gives you a reduction of $8,000 from this price. Let's say now that you have to do a well, there's no water. Okay. Now the septic tank is very regular. It's going to cost you about $8,000 to $9,000 for a septic tank nationwide. And when it does, that is included in your build cost. Septic tanks are no problem. And typically on a state basis, you do have to have half an acre to do it. And that might be your contingency is, will the state approve a septic tank 0.49998 acres? And if you can get that approved, then they'll approve your subdivide. So that might be the wait for the next month, is going in and getting approval for septic tanks. Now, the septic tank is part of your build cost, but the well is not. And if you do a well share agreement, let's say the well cost you $30,000. So now you have $38,000. You subtract $38,000 from this. So now you're just under $80,000. You net $80K by drilling a well, putting a transformer, and subdividing the lot. And all of that can take place in 30 to 60 days. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how you go out and over the course of the next 90 days, how you go out and generate an extra $20,000 to $60,000. And even if you fall short of this $80,000 and you exercise the process, you have breakaway points that you can sell this. You can sell this for a lower profit, where maybe these lots originally was $60,000 without the infrastructure. Maybe you can only sell these lots for $30,000 to $40,000. So instead of going in and doing the infrastructure of the power and the well, maybe you just lower the cost of the overall land, let them put their own well in there. Instead of selling it for $60,000, maybe you sell it for $30,000 or $40,000 because it's going to cost them that to put the infrastructure in. Now you go in, your first lot, you sell back out because it has utilities for the same $60,000 you paid for it. You don't sell that for any less. These other two lots are free. And now what you do is you go to your first breakaway point because this one already has power. And now you go in and you just sell it without any utility infrastructure upgrades for $30,000 to $35,000. And ladies and gentlemen, even if you make $30,000, you just doubled your money in 60 to 90 days, making $30,000 at the first breakaway point without any money out of pocket at all. Or you go to the second breakaway point, you can assess your finances, see what the value is to you, increase your profitability, put it in, and make an extra $20,000 by putting in the infrastructure, which will give you about an $80,000 net profit. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a great resource to be able to go in and do small and simple subdivides while you're building homes in 60 to 90 days to bridge the gap and make excess capital on the side to leverage and utilize for long-term financial investments. And that's how you go out and you compound your success. For more real estate, land, and building tips just like this, click and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Pound and smash that thumbs up button and give us a little bit of love, and comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on what you need to go out and compound profits in real estate, land, and new construction builds. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Watch the recommended videos that I have outside of this video at the end of this segment, and make sure that you learn how to buy land, build houses for profit, and crush it into the multifamily sector. Click and subscribe, pound that thumbs up button, and I'll see you next time.